Well, here we are. Another year has come and gone, and with it, a return to the movie theaters. 2021 may not have had the same cinematic impact as some years prior, but you have to admit, we're getting back to being at least closer to normal to the movie-going experience. And now that we're ushering in 2022, I'm excited to see what the year has in store. As I'm sure everyone does, I have movies that I'm excited for this year, some more than others, and undoubtedly some of them will disappoint me, and some will come out of nowhere that I wouldn't have even expected, and I'll like them more than any of them on this list. That's kind of the fun of doing this. Without further ado, let's get into my top 10 anticipated movies of 2022. Number 10, Nope. Nope is the third film by Jordan Peele, and at this point, I have no idea what the plot is about. It hasn't been released. All I have is a poster and a cast list, but the cast does include some actors that I really like. Daniel Kaluuya's in it, and I really liked him in Get Out. Steven Yeun is in it, and I thought he was a good actor in The Walking Dead before the show turned to poop and I stopped watching.
Your kitchen is a goddamn mess.
And Keke Palmer, who I remember most from the movie Jump In. Now, Jordan Peele is an interesting one because I really liked Get Out, and Us was kind of a disappointment. It wasn't terrible, but I thought from a writing perspective, it wasn't great. He does have really unique and original ideas, and he's a good director, so I'm interested to see what he comes up with. Number 9. Salem's Lot. Now, Salem's Lot is Stephen King's second book, and it's a vampire story that I very much enjoy, so I'm excited to see what the movie will be. There was a miniseries done of Salem's Lot back in the 70s by Tobe Hooper, who you might recognize from having directed The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Poltergeist. And there was also one done later with Rob Lowe, but I've never seen either of those. All I know is the book, and I'm excited to see it adapted for a modern audience for the big screen. However, I am a little wary because Gary Dauberman is the one adapting and directing, and his filmography is spotty. He has some credits like 2017's It and Annabelle Creation that I think are good, but he also has things like the first Annabelle, It Chapter 2, and The Nun that are not good, so you never know what you're going to get with him, so I'm interested to see what his vampire tale is going to look like. Number 8, The Black Phone.
I'll scream. I'll scratch your face.
This face?
The Black Phone is based off of a short story by Joe Hill, who is a really great author, and if you don't know, he is Stephen King's son. The movie stars Ethan Hawke and is directed by Scott Derrickson, who has also done movies like Sinister and Doctor Strange, and when I saw the trailer for this, I thought it looked pretty good. It looks unique to say the least, and I did notice that it was originally slated for a February release, and it got pushed back to June, which I think is promising, because earlier in the year when horror movies are released, they usually keep those slots open for horror movies they think won't do that well, and if they're pushing it back to summer, maybe they're hoping that it will make some money because it's actually good. I don't know, fingers crossed. Number 7. Halloween Ends. Now, let me preface this by saying that I know that including this one in a top 10 anticipated list may be an unpopular opinion, because I know that Halloween Kills didn't resonate with audiences as much as the 2018 Halloween did.
Evil dies tonight!
But I liked Halloween Kills more than most people, it seems like. Was it messy and chaotic? You bet. Did I still really enjoy myself and have a good time? Absolutely. I've seen a lot of really bad horror movies, especially in the Halloween franchise, and I had way more fun with Halloween Kills than a lot of those, so I'm excited to see how the third installment brings this trilogy to an end. Or if I know anything about horror franchises, how it sets up the next sequel. Number 6, Creed 3. I'm a big fan of the other two Creed movies, and the Rocky franchise in general, but especially the last two Creed movies have both been very solid. Plus, Michael B. Jordan will be in the director's chair for the first time in his career, and after having played the character for 2 full movies and now entering a third, I think Michael B. Jordan knows the character well enough to direct a good Creed movie, and I'm excited to see him get back in the ring. Number 5, Scream.
Hello, Sydney. It's an honor.
The Scream series is one of my favorite horror franchises, and one of the better ones in my personal opinion. I think at least 3 out of the 4 movies released thus far are good, and even the bad one, Scream 3, it's not as bad as a lot of other horror sequels. This movie has a really good cast, including characters from other movies like Neve Campbell as Sydney, Courtney Cox as Gale, David Arquette as Dewey, and Marley Shelton as Deputy Judy Hicks from the 4th one. Plus it had some good new young actors like Jack Quaid, who I really like from The Boys, Melissa Barrera, who was good in the Heights, and Dylan Minnette, who I like from Don't Breathe. Plus this movie has the same directors as Ready or Not, which I really liked because I thought it towed the line really well between campy, funny horror things and actual horror, which is what Scream needs. Wes Craven's original vision was simultaneously being a good horror movie while also poking fun and showing the tropes of horror movies, so I think that's a good match. However, I will say I'm a little scared because when I saw the poster for the movie, I went, oh no, because the poster is really bad. It's one of those just face mashup posters that has become really popular, and that's not really a great sign. Not a good poster, but hopes are still high. Number 4, Mission Impossible 7. Now this movie is a holdover from last year, because this movie's been pushed back, but I guess I'll just say what I did last year. Mission Impossible Fallout was the 6th installment of the series, and it was the best one in my opinion, which is virtually unheard of, so whatever they come up with 7, I'm sure I'll be intrigued by it. Christopher McQuarrie is back, and he's been tried and true in the series thus far, so I put all my trust in him. We got Tom Cruise, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg. It'll be a fun time, you know it. Number 3, John Wick, Chapter 4. Now this is pretty much a given, but the John Wick franchise is one of the best, if not the best action movie franchise of the modern era, if not ever. The last 3 movies kicked ass. Keanu Reeves is Keanu Reeves. I just hope this movie does more of the same. Quick little note, I just found out that the movie, which was originally meant to be released in May of 2022, just got pushed back to 2023, so I guess this one isn't coming out in 2022, but I'm not redoing my list, so let's just say it was my 3rd most anticipated movie of 2022. Whatever, we're moving on.
Cut, print, check the gate, moving on.
Number 2, The Batman.
I'm vengeance.
I love Batman. He's my 2nd favorite superhero right behind Spider-Man, and any movie of his, I'll probably watch. Some Batman movies I like better than others, some I don't even like, but this one, after seeing the trailer, I felt like the tone was exactly what I wanted. It looks dark, more grounded, serious, and that's what I like in a Batman movie. Plus, Robert Pattinson as Batman, I can dig it. I think Robert Pattinson is a very good actor. If you're still stuck in that mindset where you can only see him as Edward Cullen from Twilight, I implore you, go see more of his filmography. I especially like him in the Safdie brothers movie, Good Time. That should convince you that he can take on more serious roles. Paul Dano as the Riddler, and Paul Dano is an amazing character actor. Go see Prisoners or Swiss Army Man or any one of his other films and you'll know that I tell no lies. Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, he was great in Westworld and the James Bond movies. Andy Serkis as Alfred. I mean, Andy Serkis, come on, he was Caesar in the Planet of the Apes trilogy, he's Gollum. He's a great actor. Zoe Kravitz has been in A Million and One Things, and she's always good, so I'm excited to see her as Catwoman. And of course, Colin Farrell as the Penguin in a ton of prosthetics and makeup. I'm unsure of how that one's gonna go, but I'm kind of just glad he's getting a second shot at playing a movie villain because Bullseye in Daredevil was something else.
Bullseye.
Matt Reeves is directing, and I have a lot of faith in him because I really like the Planet of the Apes trilogy, and he directed the last 2 of them. So, Matt Reeves, Batman's in your hands, I'll be in the theater. And now before I get to the number 1 pick, I will give some honorable mentions that didn't quite make the top 10. Orphan, First Kill. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the 2009 horror movie Orphan, I would say go watch it. It's a good watch, I enjoy it. It's better than a lot of horror movies from around that time. Now this one's supposed to be a prequel, and this is 12 years later, and the main actress is coming back, so I'm not sure how they're gonna do that. And I'm also a little hesitant because this movie is slated for a late January release, and as I mentioned before, early in the year is where movies in general, but especially horror movies, go to die. So I don't know if it'll actually be good or not, but I'll be happily surprised if it is. Top Gun, Maverick.
The end is inevitable, Maverick.
This is another holdover from last year. It just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. I am a fan of the original Top Gun because it's goofy and campy as hell, and it's so unapologetically 80s that you can't help but just laughing and enjoying yourself when you're watching it. This one, I'm not sure. Putting it in the modern era, having old man Tom Cruise fly a plane, that's still fun, so you know what, it should be a fun time regardless, and that's what I'm hoping for. and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
What do you know about the multiverse?
Now let me just say, with the exception of Spider-Man No Way Home, I've been pretty off of Marvel since the end of Endgame. I won't go into my problems with Marvel and Disney as a whole, because I could probably fill a whole video with that kind of stuff, but all I'm trying to say is the only Marvel content that I've watched since then is Spider-Man No Way Home, but if there's one thing I might be excited for this next year in that universe, is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And there are two reasons. I like the multiverse concept, and after watching No Way Home, I think they opened up the world to do this kind of movie very well. And second is that Sam Raimi is directing it, and Sam Raimi is Sam Raimi. He did the original Spider-Man trilogy, but where he sits really close to my heart is the Evil Dead trilogy and Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Groovy.
If he can infuse that kind of crazy fun campiness and action all into a Doctor Strange movie, it should be a really great time, and that's what I'm hoping for. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, my number one anticipated movie of 2022 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. Back in 2018, when Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse released, it was my favorite movie of that year, which really surprised me. I don't know, there's something wrong in my brain where animated movies don't really capture my interest or intrigue me as much as other movies, but this one did. It was also the movie that opened the door to this whole multiverse concept that now No Way Home and Doctor Strange are doing, and it kind of paved the way. That being said, I don't really have much to say about this next upcoming movie other than I like Spider-Man, Miles Morales is cool, and I'm happy to see him back, and if this movie is anywhere near the quality of the first one, I'm gonna love it. And there you have it, my top 10 anticipated movies of 2022, or my top 9 and one that's getting delayed till 2023. Whatever, I'm too lazy to redo this, so there you have it. With the movie industry possibly getting back into full swing next year, hopefully that means there'll be a lot of good movies in theaters. And I'm sure my list doesn't match yours, so what are some of the movies you're excited for? I hope they're good and I hope you like them. Alright guys, that's all from me. Thanks for watching, and have a happy new year.